Did you know that the cesarean was not named after Julius Caesar and how he was born, but because of a law under his rule known as Lex Caesarea, which was performed when a woman died during pregnancy and the fetus had to be removed? In this video, I'm going to talk about the history of the cesarean section, but going back many hundred years. In pre-Christian times, when a woman died during pregnancy, the fetus would be removed from her uterus. The ancient Hindus also did that when the mother had died during pregnancy and there were detectable movements of the fetus. Asclepius, the son of Apollo, and Coronis. In Greek mythology, Asclepius was born through abdominal delivery. As you can see in the picture, he was being cut out of his mother's belly after his mother was killed by one arrow of the goddess Artemis. This picture shows the birth of Dionysus, who was the god of wine and agriculture, and the son of Zeus and Semele. The story is a bit long, but basically he was taken out of his mother when he was still a small fetus and then put into the right thigh of his father. And then he was born later from the right leg of his father. Another story in Greek mythology of abdominal births or non-vaginal births is that of Athena, the goddess of wisdom, daughter of Zeus and Metis, who was born out of the head of her father. This is a woodcut from, I believe, 15th century Belgium, which is showing a cesarean birth. In Europe, before 1500, there were no recorded attempts of performing a cesarean surgery on a living woman. Around 1581, François Rousset wrote a paper about the relative benefits of the cesarean surgery and argued the case for performing it on living women. This is another woodcut. Oh, no, I think this is from a manuscript also depicting cesarean section on a deceased mother. Another one. It's going back to the story of Julius Caesar. We're often told that the cesarean was named after Julius Caesar because he was born by cesarean surgery, but the historical evidence which shows that cesareans were done on dead women doesn't seem to hold true for the story of Julius Caesar because during his lifetime he wrote letters to his mother, so she was presumably alive at the time. Later on, the king Numa Pompilius, who of Rome, who lived around 715 BC, around 7 to 600 BC, he introduced a law called Lex Regis, where it was forbidden to bury a pregnant woman until her child had been removed from her abdomen, even if the child had little chance of survival. So under the rule of Caesar, this Lex Regis became Lex Caesarea, and thus this surgery was known as a caesarean operation. A historian from 20 to 80 AD, so the first century, named Plinius, he explains that the word caesarean may also have come from the Latin words caedere and secere, both mean to cut. This is a work from the 16th century showing caesarean section being done on a living woman. Now, there are some reports from 1500 about a hog gelder named Jacob Neufer or Jakob Neufer from Sigerhausen, Switzerland, who performed the first documented cesarean section on a living woman and where the child also lived. He performed it on his wife. This is a depiction of the hog gelder Jakob Neufer performing the cesarean section on his living wife. His wife was named Elizabeth Alice Paquin, and she had experienced a prolonged and obstructed labor. His wife was said to have delivered 6 more children vaginally after this operation. Therefore, she was also the first recorded woman to have a VBAC, or vaginal birth, after cesarean. However, we should take this report with a pinch of salt because it was written 100 years later after it occurred, and it was only from hearsay. Now, in 1647, there is a famous legend about cesarean, which was done on the wife of a man named Jakob Egger, and the cesarean was performed by the horn of a tempestuous bull. Both the husband and wife died from this bull attack, while the child died later at 9 months old, so it survived the birth, apparently. The mother and child were buried at Westside Church in Zandam. This church is also known as Bullekerk, or Bull's Church.